The only thing that is uglier than, going to work on a Monday and, having to do anything productive on a Monday is this NBA slate. Good Lord. This is going to be quite an NBA day. And it was to the point where Ghost comes on and the first thing he tells me as we're getting ready is, this one's going to be quick. And by quick, he meant we have 2 games, literally 2 games to talk about. So, we got ourselves maybe 25 minutes, a half hour. Ghost, how's life? How are things going? I feel like we need to pad the time here. 2 games we're only talking
a little bit. Yeah, I'm looking at this slate and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just a sea of red O's on my screen right now. Like, is anyone playing at this point? Like, it's almost like the whole league was like, you know what, baseball started. We're just going to set out half our roster on a nightly basis. Like, I feel like it's been like this for a couple slates in a row. So besides that, weekend was nice. Super nice weather here lately, which I absolutely
Baseball
love.
was fun over the weekend.
Baseball is back.
Your Blue Jays are winning right now. Crushing. I took their team total, the Better Baseball podcast. I took it. I took their over. Yeah.
That's amazing. Tonight,
now they need
what was the over today?
It was 5.5. So they need to do a little bit here. I need a little bit more. I thought they were going to get like 10 off at the jump, but just because
the pen's going to come in and then they're going to start raking. I'm really excited because lineups looking like this and George Springer hasn't even started to hit yet. I can't wait to see what
they're going to be great.
Like, so
yeah, this is exactly what we're doing now on the Win Daily Show. We got to talk baseball because if we get into NBA, it's going to be over like this. Like it's basically going to be a high buy type thing. Literally. But I guess let's start. Here it is. Here's what we're talking about. These 2 games. You see them highlighted. You see the players. It's these 2 games. First of all, let's just start here. Why is it these 2 games?
So the first thing that I want to point out, not only why we're playing these 2, but why I'm not focusing on the first question, because anytime Brooklyn is on the slate, people are going to say, well, why are we not playing the Brooklyn Nets? Look, I play James Harden virtually every single night, but this is a game where the Knicks play at the slowest pace in the entire league, and you look at the New York Knicks, their entire offense, their entire team essentially is run through Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. You get into a run-in style game where you're running and gunning up and down the court with Brooklyn. Good luck. I love Julius Randle, breakout candidate, most improved player of the year in my opinion. He should be a lock to win that award this season. I have him on my fantasy team. I write him up every second day, anytime that he's on an NBA slate. But you get into a run and gun style game with the Brooklyn Nets. I'm sorry, Julius Randle and RJ Barrett aren't going to cut it against the healthy James Harden and Kyrie Irving. It's just not happening. So you know what? I think New York really slows down the pace. They're going to utilize as much of the shot clock as possible. And they're going to want to get this game down to who's going to be able to take the last shot. So that's the reason why I'm not playing the Brooklyn game. Look, James Harden can break a slate at any point in time. And you could say the same thing about Luka Doncic, who I'm not playing. Look, Porzingis was doubtful in our proprietary projection model when I uploaded at 7:30 this morning. So that was something that I saw that. The first thing I did was ran to the site and put Utah -4.5. Because this thing knows. I don't know what's up, but I looked. I'm like, Porzingis isn't even questionable, and it has him ruled out. So, I don't know what's going on. We just got the news in the past, I'd say 15, 20 minutes, where Porzingis is now doubtful in this game, and it doesn't look like he's going to play.
Now, apparently, we can tell the future on Win Daily Sports.
I don't know how it does it. I try not to keep it open because, maybe it's watching me through my screen or something. So, I try not to have it open in front of me too often. But it had it out at 7:30 in the morning. There was no sign whatsoever of Porzingis being questionable, let alone doubtful. And now it looks like he's not going to play in this game. I'll let everybody else flock to Luka Doncic. I'm not playing Luka Doncic against the best defense, let alone the best team in the NBA right now. It's not happening. I refuse to do it. So for that reason, I'm not playing Luka either. And I'm going right to this Washington-Toronto game. Look, this game might finish 240 to 238. Honestly, they're going to score 500 points in this game. It doesn't make sense. They're going to legitimately
score 500 points. They're actually going to score 500 points. All right. So
they're going to score bet
the over.
That'd be great. It'd be great.
Bet double the over and then bet the over on that.
The over is probably going to hit by half. It's just you got to do it. I put it on the side as one of our bets too. Over in the Washington-Toronto game, who is playing defense in this game? Washington plays at the top pace in the entire league. Bottom 5 in defensive rating. Toronto blows on defense. Is coming from a guy that watches every single Toronto's minute possible when they're playing.
Is that even putting it kindly? I would say.
Yeah, a little bit. Like it's kind of underestimating a little bit. They can't play D right now. They have no solution whatsoever for the interior. And you have Russell Westbrook, who, since he pretty much came into the league, is top 5 in driving rate. This guy just gets to the hoop at a ridiculous pace and just with such ease that Toronto's not going to be able to stop him. And then on top of that, you put into the fact where Bradley Beal's hip injury seems to be a little bit more serious than most people thought. We don't know if he's playing in this game. So that's the last piece of news that I need to confirm my lineup. But even if he is in, my lineup starts with Russell Westbrook tonight. I'll let everybody else play Luka. I'll let everybody else play James Harden. An under-owned Russell Westbrook on a slate like this. And I'm hoping we don't get the Bradley Beal news before lock. And maybe even if he gets rolled in, I'll still take Russell Westbrook at a fraction of the ownership versus these other two guys, because the pace of play in this game is just going to be off the charts. It's something that I want to attack anytime Washington is on the slate, coupled with the fact that Toronto has allowed over 112 points per game in their last 10 to way inferior offenses compared to that of Washington. It's just, this is the game environment that I want to attack. Then on top of it, you're like, okay, well, Toronto has a couple good pieces. Not tonight, they don't. Kyle Lowry's out. Norman Powell's out of town. Fred VanVleet just got ruled out. It's going to be the Pascal Siakam show. So you know what? You put that into the fact that it's a game where you're not stacking three $11,000 players. You could get Pascal. You could get Russell Westbrook in your lineup. Then you have Flynn that's sitting there all the way down at 3,500 getting the spot start. And then you pair that with one of Gary Trent or one of OG Anunoby, who's going to be the second scoring option behind Pascal. And you have a very affordable stack on both sides tonight. So this is going to be the game that I'm attacking on the Washington side. It starts and ends with Russell Westbrook for me. One guy that I am looking strongly at for GPPs, if you're playing tournaments tonight, is Davis Bertans. Now, this guy is one of the streakiest shooters in the league, and quietly so. Rui Hachimura's out, and he's actually going to be out for quite some time now. Who's going to score for Washington outside of Russ? Like, it's just, I feel like it's going to be bombs away for Davis Bertans. This guy might take over 10 3-point attempts. And look, if the shot isn't dropping, it's going to be scary. He's going to come out of the game, might not get back into it for all that many more minutes, and that could really tank your lineup. But the upside for a player in that price range is second to none. If his shot is dropping at a ridiculous rate and he's shooting early and often, he's not going to come off the court, and that's just the way shooting in the NBA is. When you're hot, you're hot. At that price, it's very hard for me to pass up Davis Bertans on the Washington side.
Yeah, and I was just scrolling up and down through this Toronto and Washington game. I mean, even if you go down, there are so many O's and Q's on this. It's nuts. So I feel like that's the reason why we're picking this as well. Also because it's a fast pace. But then, I mean, because even Fred VanVleet, he's likely going to, or he is out. Kyle Lowry, Hachimura, Bradley Beal. I mean, there are so many players that are out, but also the pace of it dictates obviously why you're going to be playing that game so much. But then you go on Detroit, Oklahoma City side of things, and it's like the same thing, right?
Well, that's exactly it. And people are going to tell me, why are we playing OKC and Detroit when Brooklyn's on the slate, when Luka Doncic is going to be without Porzingis and all these guys? Well, first of all, it's not really fair to compare because the highest priced player in this entire game is at $7,200 versus paying $11,000 for those other guys. And then you look at OKC's rotation tonight, they're down to 8 guys, one of which is Darius Miller. They're down to 7 guys. Like, they're not even down to 8. One of them is Darius Miller. They're down to 7 people in this rotation. Theo Maledon doesn't score all that much. You're down to 6 guys there, maybe even 5 that can legitimately put the basket in the hoop. They're going to all play 30-plus minutes. It doesn't matter whether they're the most talented individuals on the court or not. What matters is that they're a lock for 30-plus minutes. Like, it's just, you look at Moses Brown. How does he come off the court tonight? Moses Brown at 7,100. How does he come off the court tonight? Outside of Tony Bradley getting in there, OKC knows exactly what they have in Tony Bradley. They're not gonna hinder Moses Brown's development to play Tony Bradley for 30 minutes. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Sixers great Tony Bradley.
What is the benefit to the OKC organization in doing that, right? So they're gonna play Moses Brown a ton. Poku is gonna get a ton of minutes, and there's so many touches to go around on the wing. Darius Baisley out. Al Horford's done for the season because he's just old. Let's not beat on the bush.
Basketball, yeah.
Like, it is what it is. Lou Dort is out. Isaiah Roby's out. There's so many touches to go around on the wing where Poku is all of a sudden in a situation where he's going to take 15 to 20 shots. Moses Brown is going to get 15 to 20 shots. And on top of that, he feels the need to get 4 offensive rebounds before actually putting it in because he can't nail these tip-ins, which is a DFS player's absolute dream. Guys getting 3-4 offensive rebounds before getting a tip-in because he can't make a simple basket. That's perfect. I love that in my lineup. Do I like that if I'm starting a franchise? No, absolutely not. But we're not starting franchises. We're playing DFS. Give me 4 offensive rebounds per possession. I don't care. That's exactly what I love to see. So Moses Brown, Poku, very hard for me to get away from it. And even at the guard spots, guys like Ty Jerome, they're going to be out there running the offense. Maledon is not a scorer. He's going to be able to facilitate for Poku and Moses Brown in the starting lineup. But you look at that bench now, someone's got to come off the bench and play 25 to 30 minutes on top of that. That guy is Ty Jerome. So for me, it really depends on who you're using in that Washington-Toronto game and where the remaining spots are in that lineup. But whether you're going Ty Jerome or Poku or Moses Brown, I feel like you need at least 2 Oklahoma City Thunder in the lineup tonight. And on the Detroit side, you have the Win Daily Jam Mason Plumlee, who's going to be out. I want Isaiah Stewart in my lineup. This guy's just a fantasy point per minute, absolute machine. He's going to be out there against, a Moses Brown who is not exactly the best defender, and Tony Bradley is not going to see the court all that much just because, again, how does that benefit OKC? It doesn't at all. Isaiah Stewart's going to be out there grabbing rebounds. Both of these guys are bad on the defensive end. It's literally perfect for them to go at one another all day long in the paint. Isaiah Stewart, Moses Brown, a little double center action is something that I'm toying with in my DraftKings builds right now. But at only $4,000, likely to get the spot start, Isaiah Stewart is 100% going to be in my lineup tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys are 7,100, 7,200 for Grant as well. But I mean, I know the price is down, but basically, are you treating them as the star players of the night? Because star players, it all comes down to not only that they're great players, but volume. Everything is about volume and points. And so a guy like Russell Westbrook is always going to get that volume. James Harden and Kyrie Irving are we treating kind of Moses Brown that way? And, it's always tough when you have a lot of salary remaining, but is this one of those slates where you're most likely going to have some dollars left to utilize because, well, you just have to get Moses Brown in the lineup?
Yeah, this is a spot where, you know what, I wouldn't say leave $1,500 on the table, like especially on a big slate like this where, unless it's like a 2-game slate, even 3-gamers, I usually don't leave $1,500 left on the table. But if you find yourself with $500-$600, why are you paying up for, let's say, for example, I didn't check Jordan Clarkson's price, but let's say, for example, Jordan Clarkson is usually around the $6,000 range. Why force it where, okay, let's say at 66, why are we forcing a guy like that off the bench because we feel the need to when Poku's there at 5,300 and you have the $1,300 left over? Yeah, okay, you know what? Is Jordan Clarkson going to outscore Poku? Yeah, it's definitely possible. But when you're talking about Poku's minutes versus Jordan Clarkson, you're not even comparing apples to apples. Like Jordan Clarkson's not going to get the same amount of minutes as Poku. Like they have an 8-man rotation. Whether these guys are the best basketball players on the planet or not, I don't care. What I care about is that they're going to get 30 to 36 minutes against the worst team in the entire NBA. Both teams have nothing to play for. Like this is a spot that we want to attack 100%. And you know what? If you have $500-$600 left over, don't force yourself to make it an unnecessary upgrade where, you're going from Moses Brown to Colin Sexton, for example. Is Colin Sexton going to outscore Moses Brown? Again, it's possible. But why am I playing Colin Sexton against Greg Popovich's defense when I could grab Moses Brown, who's not even going to leave the court tonight against the worst team in the NBA, right? So this is a spot where, you know what, you might have a couple guys that, yeah, can you go from Sexton, DeJounte Murray, any one of these guys? Can you pick them instead of Moses Brown? Absolutely. Are they going to outscore Moses Brown? Definitely a possibility. Am I going to do that? Absolutely not, because I'm not passing up on a guy that's going to play 36 minutes against the worst team in the NBA. That in an 8-man rotation, I just can't pass that up.
Yeah, and so now Jimmy Wagner brings up the question, and this is just for Toronto players, but I want to do it with both. When does it get to you're putting in too much from each? And we'll start with the Raptors because Jimmy Wagner is asking that question. But when does it get to the point where maybe you're putting in too many from the Raptors? You're putting too many in the Detroit-Oklahoma City game. Is there ever a point where you're like, okay, maybe I'm too invested or have too much involved in this game?
Yeah, so OKC, I would limit it to 3. Despite it being an 8-man rotation, it's not a very powerful offense in an 8-man rotation, right? If the Brooklyn Nets run an 8-man rotation, then all of a sudden you could get guys like Jeff Green, guys like Joe Harris. Like these secondary pieces are people that are really able to score at will. Whereas with OKC, you have a lot of peripheral players. And what I mean by that is that a guy like Kenrich Williams can get there based on rebounds and assists alone. But if he does, then it's likely coming at the expense of another peripheral player like Theo Maledon, who needs those rebounds and those assists to really pay off for value, right? So I would limit it to 3 for OKC, one of which has to be Poku or Moses Brown. If you are playing all 3 of them, and then you could even play both those guys with one of Kenrick or Svi or Ty Jerome, any one of these other guys. For Toronto, that would be the only offense that I'm okay with 4. And the main reason is because Flynn is almost minimum price. And just like we say, Tibbs is going to Tibbs out there in New York, where he runs his starters into the ground. Nick Nurse is exactly that too out here on the other side of the border, right? So Nick Nurse just runs the starters into the ground, whether it's Bembry, whether it's Malachi Flynn. He doesn't care who it is. Whoever starts is going to see a ton of minutes, and then you're going to see, probably a 6-man rotation with Baines and Boucher in interchanging minutes at the 5, right? So look, Bembry is going to get a couple minutes at guard when either Flynn or Trent come off, but at all times you're going to have 3 out of that core 4, the one that you just posted now with Gary Trent, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Malachi Flynn. At all times, every minute of that game, there's going to be at least 3 of them on the court. So, you know what? I'm okay with 4 Raptors tonight. Personally, I'm likely only playing 3. I do think that OG's price is a little bit high for my liking. At 7,200, I would like him to get, at least 45 to 50 points. And that's not really OG's game unless he's dropping 30. And if he's dropping 30, it comes at the expense of Pascal Siakam scoring, right? So it's all about making sure that your lineup makes sense, especially with Gary Trent taking 15 to 20 shots the past couple games. I do lean Trent there a little bit. On the Washington side, because it's Russell Westbrook, I'm only playing 2 guys. You could play 3. I'm okay with that. But just with how much Russell Westbrook just pads every single stat that's possible in the NBA, including turnovers, it's very tough for me to end up stacking a Washington offense when I have Russell Westbrook in there. You can mix in Danny Avdija. I'm okay with that. But I'm staying away from all these spot starter value spots, guys like Alex Len, guys like Robinson, any one of these guys, I'm not really taking them. My one flyer that I will have interest in, like I was saying before, is Davis Bertans, just because they need shooting in this lineup, man. Especially if Beal doesn't go, they don't have a single other shooter on this team outside of Russ, which in that case, it's going to be bombs away for Davis Bertans outside the 3-point line.
So yeah, now it's just finding the combination. And to help you do that, windailysports.com/chat. Join for a gold membership. Get into the Discord, windailysports.com/chat. And you can get Ghost in there, critiquing your lineups, trying to fine-tune it, getting the right Raptors, Washington players, or Detroit and Oklahoma City Thunder players in there as well. So you can get those lineups adjusted if you need 4 Raptors, or if you're looking to put maybe 3 from the Thunder in there. Ghost will help you get the right 3. So that pretty much sums up the DFS slate, doesn't it? Like that is basically it. So Ghost, yeah. I know this. You're a college basketball guy, are you not?
Absolutely.
Okay, guess what?
I've been posting picks since the beginning of the tournament. Hopefully you guys have been tailing that. We've been red hot at the table lately.
Well, guess what then? You're going to make the pick right here. You're doing it right now. You got to make the pick. Gonzaga, Baylor, who you got? Ghost, who you got?
So I'm going to give a bit of an explanation to this one. I'd like to give a one-word answer. I'd like to give a one-word answer, but you know what? It's I consider this a hot take, even though it's for the Natty. I'm taking Baylor on the money line. So I don't believe in perfect seasons, and with the amount that the public and the entire world is on Gonzaga,
I feel like they're on Baylor after that weekend.
No. All the money's coming in on Gonzaga -4.5. Everything. And the one, my gut instinct was when Baylor won, I don't even want to say won, when they absolutely obliterated Houston in that Final Four, I said, Baylor's going to win the ship. Like there's no, I really do think that Baylor's going to win the Natty. And then the spread comes out and it comes out at 5.5. It instantly got removed. Instantly. And it dropped to 4.5. And the line remains there. So the fact that they knew that, you know what, that's already too big of a line, that was a good first indicator to me. And Baylor has the deepest roster in the entire nation. And you know what, when this Gonzaga team, they've probably played all of maybe 5 good teams this season. This is by far the best team that they've played. This is by far the best team that they will play. And I really do think that Baylor ends up taking it. But thanks to our friends over on DraftKings, who we have on the screen right now, you could get Gonzaga at plus 4.5 instead of minus 4.5 with the DraftKings Sportsbook Super Boost odds at plus 100. So you know what? Thank you to the whoever pointed that out in the Discord chat. But you know what?
That's
plus
why you need to be in the
4.5.
Discord chat.
That's why you got to be in the Discord chat, because you end up looking and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it's an error. Like it's supposed to be minus instead of plus. And you go and check Super Boost odds, DraftKings Sportsbook plus 4.5, right? So I plus 100. I do like hedging the Baylor money line there, but I'm on the Baylor side of this. This is a very deep roster. One of my favorite schools on top of that, one of my favorite college basketball programs. So a little bias in there, but this is the first time that Gonzaga plays a real team in the nation. And I have a feeling they're going to be in for a rude awakening here on both ends of the court. I think Baylor wins the natty. I'm taking Baylor on the money line.
I see. I can't do that. I'm going with Gonzaga. All right. I got to go the minus 4.5.
I like it.
UCLA had to play the bleeping perfect game to even be in it. Baylor, if they play the perfect game, they win it. The problem is that was the first time anybody ever the entire season has played a perfect game. Baylor hasn't done that for 40 minutes since pre-COVID. Post-COVID, they haven't done it once. They played perfect in the second half against Villanova, and they played perfect for the first few minutes of the game against Houston. That's it. That is it, Ghost. I don't think they can keep up. They can't keep up.
So if we're talking about playing the perfect game, if Baylor plays the perfect game,
they win.
They win by double digits.
They could.
They win by double digits if they're playing the perfect game.
That'll be tough.
Their defensive scheme is a force to be reckoned with. And if they're playing that well on defense and on offense, they got everything clicking.
I think the problem is that no matter what you do against Gonzaga, they're so efficient, especially inside and 2-point shooting. It's just they're going to get theirs. Like no matter how well Baylor plays, I mean they're going to get theirs. And by the way, I don't think they have anybody that could stop Drew Timme. But it's they're going to get 80 points. It's just that can Gonzaga keep up and put up 85, 90 points type thing.
That's exactly it. And speaking of points, obviously we're here for the overs. I never bet unders. Like I get nauseous pronouncing that word out of my mouth. But I like the over in this game. Last time I saw it, it was at 159.5. I do like the over in this game. I think it's going to be really high scoring. And like you said, when Gonzaga's offense is clicking, which is pretty much every minute that they're out there on the court, Baylor's offense has to keep up. And you know what? They're in the natty for a reason. I really do think both offenses really run the show. I can't wait to watch this game. It's going to be absolutely unreal. Get to see DeGrom on the mound. And then you get to see,
don't start.
And then you get to see the natty.
Don't start.
Oh my God, that's what a night! What a night!
Don't start that.
And then on top of that, we have a great NBA slate. It's the first slate that I can remember, at least this season, where every game is at 7 p.m. And then there's going to be somebody, but I'm going to say it before someone puts it in the comments that there's a game at 8 p.m. I'm not playing a game where it's the Suns are favored by 16 and the money's coming on Phoenix. So I'm not playing that. All the games that I'm interested in are at 7 p.m. All the news is going to be in. It's a great day for sports. Mojito Monday. You got to make a couple mojitos tonight. Make a couple mojitos tonight, and then you're going to watch sports all night. And it's going to be an amazing night. I will say this.
I need plenty of water for the sweat I'm going to have tonight. Yeah. That's what I need. No mojitos for me. So, by the way, we do have a lineup here real quick. If you want to go over Slater, Hogan, Westbrook, Flynn, Mitchell, Booker, Avdija, Williams, Stewart, Siakam, and Brown.
I like it. That's a FanDuel lineup. So I do like that. The one thing I will point out is like Gary Trent is shooting guard eligible. On FanDuel, he's listed as a shooting guard, and I think he's only 5,100. So that's somebody that would really, really interest me. But the rest of your lineup is strong. The only thing that I would consider is coming off Booker, because again, it's a 16-point spread. He probably won't even play the second half at all. Maybe come off Booker for Gary Trent, and then upgrade Avdija, because you have Russ in there. You're gonna want if you're paying $11K for Russ, you're gonna want him to go absolutely bonkers. So. I don't really want Avdija in that spot, but if there's no better small forward that you can get, then this lineup's pretty solid. Booker is going to get his in the first half. It's going to be just fine. So make sure I write that out. And if there's one game, like you're talking about way out of left field, one game that you want to get exposure to, it would be the Sacramento-Minnesota game, just because these teams don't play defense at all. Towns it would shock me if Towns doesn't drop 35 and 10 tonight in that spot. So if you want to play Karl Anthony Towns, I'm okay with it. Rubio's not going to play in this one. Beasley, I'm not sure. Don't be scared about D'Angelo Russell making his return to the lineup. He's coming off the bench. I don't see him playing more than 15 minutes. They already said he's going to be on a very, very hard minutes limit. So I don't really see him playing more than 15. He'll be just fine. If you want to get exposure to this game again, though, the main reason why I'm not is because my studs are coming from that Toronto-Washington game. And if I'm playing this one, it's going to be Towns and De'Aaron Fox, right? So if you want to go completely different, or even you're making a couple different lineups in a 3 entry max tournament where you're entering 3 different lineups, you could go 2 with Washington, Toronto, maybe 1 if you want to get James Harden or Luka in the second one. But if you're making all 3, one of them would be Sacramento, Minnesota for me, where you start with Towns and you start with De'Aaron Fox, and then you're using the same value plays from the Detroit OKC game. You're really just interchanging studs. That could be another route that people could take tonight.
There you go. WinDailySports.com/chat is where you can check it out. Also, other things, WinDailySports.com, NHL betting, Major League Baseball DFS plays. Obviously, we have NBA DFS covered and bets for you as well covered at WinDailySports.com. I think I'm going to end this with a little scorched earth. DFS Ghost at DFS_Ghost on Twitter. Mets stink. Go Zags. Phillies are going to get the dub tonight. Jacob deGrom will be out by the 4th inning. It's Fajita Monday. We're going to make some money. NBA DFS. Let's go.